Rangers fans, buckle up because there's a lot to unpack today. What a weekend it's been for the boys in blue. A solid victory over Dundee brought a much-needed lift, but what really caught everyone's attention were the words that came out of Danny Roll's mouth after the final whistle. The German coach didn't hold back when asked about his plans for the January transfer window, especially when it comes to bringing in a new striker. It was one of those moments where you could feel he's already got a vision for how to reshape this squad, and you could sense the ambition in his tone. Roll has been at the club only a short time, but already the way he speaks, the way he carries himself, it's giving Rangers fans a lot of hope that something special might be building here. Now, before we dive deep into transfers and speculation, let's talk about the vibe around IBROX right now. The mood has shifted. You can see it on the pitch, you can feel it in the stands, and you can even sense it in the interviews. The team that looked uncertain just a few weeks ago is now playing with more structure, more purpose, and more energy. Roll's fingerprints are all over that. He's demanding, detailed, and very hands-on in his approach. After that 3-0 win against Dundee, he made it clear that he's not just here to steady the ship. He's here to build a foundation for the long run. Even Ally McCoist, a man who knows this club inside out, was full of praise for Roll's early work. He pointed out that the biggest thing the manager has done so far is restore order and confidence. When McCoist says the team looks steadier, that carries weight. He's seen Rangers at their best and at their lowest, so when he talks about progress, you know it's genuine. But at the same time, he's reminding everyone to stay grounded. There's a long season ahead and a lot of hard work to come. Roll may have brought a breath of fresh air, but even he knows there's still a massive gap to close at the top of the table. Speaking of the league, Hearts dropped points again, and that's opened the door just a little for Rangers to start believing in a proper chase. McCoist mentioned how important it is to win the kind of games Hearts just threw away. He's not wrong. Those are the matches that define a season. Celtic, as usual, are still ticking along comfortably, but there's a quiet sense around Rangers that things might be turning. There's momentum building. And with the right additions in January, who knows where this team could go? That brings us back to the question everyone's asking. Will Danny Roll bring in a new striker? His answer was fascinating because he didn't give a simple yes or no. Instead, he talked about developing the players already at the club, giving them belief, and helping them improve. It was a very managerial response, the kind that shows he's not rushing into decisions. He said he's watching every detail, keeping notes on who's progressing, and figuring out how to get the best out of each player. That kind of meticulous approach is exactly what Rangers have been missing. You can tell he's not just thinking about the next match. He's thinking about the next 6 months, the next year, the next chapter of this squad. Now, let's be honest, Rangers forwards haven't exactly been firing on all cylinders. Youssef Chermatai, who arrived with a lot of hype and a heavy price tag, has struggled to make his mark. 1 goal so far is not what fans expected from a signing that cost around £10 million. His confidence looks low, his movement hasn't clicked, and he's been under intense scrutiny. The supporters have been patient, but patience in football only lasts so long, especially at a club like Rangers where expectations are sky high. Then there's Bojan Majowski, who's managed to find the net twice, and Danilo, who's been around for over 2 years but still hasn't found the consistency everyone hoped for. It's clear that the attacking department needs something extra, whether that's a new signing or a complete reset in mentality. What's interesting, though, is that Roll doesn't seem ready to give up on anyone yet. He keeps talking about belief, opportunities, and growth. You get the feeling he genuinely wants to lift these players rather than replace them. He said something that really stood out. He mentioned that winning can't be done with just 11 players. It has to be the whole squad. Everyone needs to feel important. Everyone needs to develop. And that's the kind of culture shift that could take Rangers from being just competitive to being dominant again. But let's not sugarcoat it. Chermatai's situation is becoming a big talking point. Reports are swirling that a loan move to Braga might be on the cards in January. If that happens, it would be quite the fall from grace for a young striker who arrived in Glasgow billed as one of Europe's brightest prospects. His time in Portugal and England showed flashes of promise, but he never quite made that next step. When Rangers signed him from Everton, it was seen as a bold move, maybe even a gamble. And right now, it's a gamble that hasn't paid off. The most worrying part for fans isn't just his lack of goals. It's how lost he looks on the pitch. In big games, especially against physical teams like Celtic or Roma, he's been outmuscled and out of position far too often. You can tell the confidence just isn't there. 1 goal in 12 appearances is simply not good enough for a player who's supposed to lead the line for Rangers. And while nobody doubts his effort or potential, football is a results business. At a club where legends are built on goals, not promises, the pressure can swallow you whole. Alan Brazil even hinted on air that a loan to Braga was already being lined up, suggesting the club has seen enough to make a decision. That's a huge statement considering how much Rangers paid and how quickly it's all unraveled. If true, it raises bigger questions about recruitment. How did the club decide to invest £10 million in a player who hadn't scored a senior goal in over 2 years? That's a staggering risk, and one that, in hindsight, looks like a major misstep. Sporting director Ross Wilson, or rather, his successor, will need to do some serious explaining if this turns out to be another expensive flop. This whole situation shines a light on the wider challenge Rangers have been facing for years, finding the balance between potential and performance. The club wants to buy young, develop talent, and eventually sell for profit. That's the modern football model. But when it goes wrong, as it did with Chermatai, it doesn't just hurt financially. It shakes the fans' trust in the people running the club. And that's dangerous territory, especially when supporters already feel they've been let down by too many underwhelming signings in recent seasons. Still, there are glimpses of hope. Players like Dujon Sterling and Derek Cornelius have started to show what they can bring to the table. Mikey Moore's progress has also been exciting to watch. He's making big steps, and Roll even pointed him out as an example of how belief and hard work can change everything. When a young player starts scoring and contributing under a new coach, it gives everyone else something to aim for. That's the kind of internal competition every top side needs. So, while the January window is approaching fast and speculation will only intensify, the message from Danny Roll is clear: improvement first, panic later. He's assessing, learning, and trying to extract every bit of quality from this group. Whether that ends with a new striker arriving or with Chermatai finding his form again, one thing is for sure. Rangers are in a different place now compared to a month ago. The football looks sharper, the dressing room seems united, and the fans are starting to believe again. What makes this whole situation even more fascinating is how Danny Roll has managed to win over the dressing room so quickly. When he first walked through the doors at Auchenhowie, there was uncertainty. The squad looked drained, confidence was low, and performances lacked spark. But since his arrival, something's shifted. Training sessions are sharper, communication has improved, and players are being pushed harder than they've been in a long time. You can see it in their body language. They're responding. Roll is not a man of empty words. He's methodical, calm, and deliberate in everything he does. That German precision is beginning to seep into Rangers' style of play, and supporters are starting to see the difference. One thing that stands out about Roll is how he's getting players to buy into his philosophy. He talks a lot about the collective effort, about every player being vital regardless of whether they're in the starting 11 or not. That message seems to have resonated. You can see fringe players working with renewed intensity, eager to prove they belong. It's that hunger that's been missing in recent times. Too often, Rangers teams of the past few seasons have looked fragile when faced with adversity. Now, there's a grit, a sense of purpose. The Dundee match showed exactly that. They weren't just playing to win, they were playing to make a statement. Still, even with the improvement, everyone knows the finishing touch up front remains a concern. A team with Rangers' history can't afford to waste chances, and that's where the frustration lies. When opportunities present themselves, they need to be buried. Roll's system creates openings, but without a reliable striker in form, it all risks going to waste. That's why the noise around a potential new forward isn't going away. There's a feeling inside the fan base that the club needs someone clinical, someone who can carry the responsibility of scoring week in, week out. But Roll seems determined not to rush that decision. He's studying, analyzing, making sure that if he does bring someone in, it's the right fit, not just statistically, but mentally too. Behind the scenes, the scouting department has been busy. Word is that several names have been shortlisted, including a few younger options from mainland Europe and even 1 or 2 experienced heads from the English Championship. The challenge for Rangers is balancing ambition with realism. The finances aren't limitless, and recent misfires have made the board more cautious. The fans want investment, but they also want smarter decision-making. Nobody wants another expensive signing who fails to adapt to Scottish football's pace and intensity. Roll himself seems very aware of that pressure. Every move he makes in January could define how the rest of his debut season unfolds. Meanwhile, players like Danilo are quietly beginning to find some rhythm again. He's not the most prolific forward, but there's been a visible lift in his confidence. He's moving more intelligently, linking better with the midfield, and most importantly, he's starting to look like he believes in himself again. When a coach like Roll puts faith in you, it shows. You can see that bond forming. It's not about shouting or demanding perfection. It's about trust, and that's something the players are clearly responding to. Even Majowski, who's had a mixed run, has shown flashes that suggest he could rediscover his best form if the consistency follows. Of course, the shadow of Chermatai's struggles looms large. You can feel the frustration in the stands when he comes on. Fans desperately want him to succeed, but football can be cruel when things aren't clicking. Every missed chance becomes a heavier burden. Every poor touch another reminder of expectations unmet. The whispers about a loan move to Braga might actually be a blessing in disguise. Sometimes a player needs a reset, a fresh environment to rebuild confidence. If that's the path Rangers take, it wouldn't necessarily be an admission of failure. It could be a chance to protect both the player and the club's longer-term interests. While the striker issue dominates the headlines, there's a lot more happening beneath the surface. Roll has been working relentlessly to improve Rangers' defensive shape and midfield transitions. You can tell he's obsessed with detail. His post-match interviews are always filled with tactical insight. He talks about distances between lines, pressing triggers, and maintaining composure in possession. That's not just talk for the cameras. It's filtering down into the players' performances. The back line, once shaky and hesitant, is now far more compact. The midfield looks balanced, with players finally understanding their roles. It's small progress, but it's visible, and it's giving supporters a reason to believe this rebuild might actually be different. Another key difference is the atmosphere around Ibrox. For a while, home matches felt tense. Fans were impatient, players looked nervous, and every misplaced pass drew groans. Now, that tension is easing. The supporters are starting to get behind the team again. They see the effort, the direction, and the discipline. Roll's calmness seems to have rubbed off on everyone. He doesn't overreact, even when things don't go perfectly. He keeps repeating the same message, improvement through work. That kind of mindset might sound simple, but at a club where pressure can crush even seasoned professionals, it's proving invaluable. It's also worth mentioning how Roll's communication skills are winning people over. English isn't his first language, but he speaks with clarity and conviction. When he explains his ideas, you can tell the players respect him. He's got that mix of modern coaching methods and old-school authority that resonates in British football. It's the kind of leadership that doesn't just demand respect, it earns it. Fans have noticed too. Interviews that used before we continue. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Whispers are echoing around the corridors of Ibrox, and the mood among the Rangers faithful is one of disbelief. According to those close to the club, a major decision has been confirmed behind closed doors, one that has left players, staff, and supporters alike utterly stunned. It appears that one of the team's standout figures, a player often described as the beating heart of the side, could be on his way out. While no official statement has yet been released detailing the reasons, murmurs suggest that internal tensions and contract disagreements may have reached a breaking point. Some insiders claim the atmosphere at training took a visible dip, with several teammates reportedly in shock after learning the news. The dressing room, once known for its unity and fight, has been described as eerily quiet since the announcement filtered through. Fans who caught wind of the situation have been flooding social media with speculation and emotion, some expressing heartbreak, others anger, and a few even questioning the direction the club is taking. For many, this potential departure symbolizes more than just the loss of a talented player. It raises questions about stability and ambition within the club's hierarchy. Sources hint that the player himself had grown frustrated in recent weeks, feeling undervalued despite his consistent performances and leadership on the pitch. Negotiations over an extension are said to have stalled, and now, it seems the club's management has made a call that could reshape the team's identity moving forward. As the rumor mill spins faster, the big question on every supporter's lips is, who will fill the void if this move goes through? For now, Rangers fans can only wait and wonder whether the decision is final, and what it means for the future of a squad already under pressure to deliver. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.